All right, why were you late?
I couldn't find my house keys, madam. I just ended up leaving the house unlocked.
All right. All right. Probably need to find the keys. All right, why were you late for court?
There was no excuse, really. I mean, the excuse that I have is it was a stupid excuse because I wore
Yeah,
the wrong
what's your
shoes.
stupid excuse?
I wore the wrong shoes and I was walking really slow because I didn't want to fall. And I shouldn't have worn these shoes.
Hello, where is she?
I don't know, Your Honor.
It happened out of nowhere. I never even saw it coming. One moment I was in my car listening to my radio.
Currently without a bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
So does she have a warrant?
Yes, she does, Your Honor.
All right, so, okay. All right, court is calling 2020.
My client is fully responsible and accepts full responsibility for his actions. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of his business endeavors because, Judge, it goes directly to the restitution. This is a case where my client and another man were both charged with racing, and he sped through an intersection, ran a red light, and hit another car, causing basically 5 different people to suffer physical injuries. One of them, Miss Amber Skripka, was nearly killed. She has had 15 surgeries, Judge, almost lost her arm. She still has at least 1 surgery left to go, and her medical bills are over $900,000. Her insurance company has paid over $238,000. And so when we talk about restitution in this case, Judge, it is a 7-figure issue. Okay. Some of the other victims did not respond to the DA's office repeated requests for information on restitution, but Ms. Skripka did, and my client wants to do everything in his power to make her whole. And he is part owner of a company named Avimec International Aircraft, Inc., and he owns 300,000 shares in that company. And it is a company that has permission from the Federal Aviation Administration to build 3 different models of aircraft in the United States, France, and Brazil. And it is a environmentally responsible aircraft. So it's actually part of, green energy. And they just received a contract with the United States Air Force to start building these helicopters that basically run on peroxide. And so the company is expected to go public. And when it does, my client will become an instant millionaire. I have seen the contract I've seen evidence of that, and I'm happy to share that with the court. May I share my screen, Judge?
With regards to that, the court will accept the defense counsel's word that the defendant is going to perhaps become a multimillionaire.
Yeah. And so, Judge, we only say that because unfortunately, Ms. Skripka was not only physically injured, she has suffered. First off, I don't know if words can describe it, but her car basically flipped, and she has tons and tons of medical bills, and she's suffered substantially. My client wants to be able to make her whole, and we really believe that there's an opportunity here for him to actually do that. And that's an important part of this case, Judge. And so with the mitigation package, I can just tell the court my client has numerous certificates of training, awards in the aviation industry, certificates of appreciation for teaching classes, certificates of achievement, and so on and so on. And so he is a productive member of society, Judge, with no history of racing or driving recklessly. In fact, all the evidence points in the opposite direction. But none of that matters in the sense that he did run he ran a red light, Judge, and was speeding through that intersection and caused serious injuries. And so we're asking
and our proffer to the court that Ms. Skripka would like the court to give the defendant a maximum supervision term on deferred adjudication to accommodate his aviation licensure, as well as the opportunity to pay back the restitution to Miss Amber Skripka and her family for everything that they've lost through this exchange. And so she expressed her gratitude to the court for reading her letter, for taking it so sternly, and for reacting the way the court did. And she would just like to maybe soften our position as the state just a little bit in making that request to the court.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if you're tested today for drugs, what are the results going to be?
Negative, Your Honor.
Have you ever used illegal substances?
When I was a teenager, Your Honor,
And what was that?
some marijuana, and I tried, I think, some acid. Something else I tried. What was it?
All right, is there anything else you wish to say, Mr. Braswell?
Your Honor, I would just ask the court to please consider the state's comments. I mean, he's speaking for all of us. We've conferred over the lunch hour, and I also had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Skripka, and it was very productive, and we want her to be made whole.
This is what the court is going to do. Mr. Fernandez, the court was strongly and wanted and thought that this case deserved a prison sentence. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
One of the main reasons why you're not going to prison is because the complainant in this case, Amber Skripka, has shown you mercy by asking the court to give you deferred adjudication. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you really need to remember that. You are too old to be racing. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So are you still driving?
I drive, I do a handyman job right now.
No, my question is, are you still driving?
Yes, I'm driving.
State Defense, how are we addressing this issue? Is there any concerns with his driving?
I mean, insofar as he has to earn a living and continue to comply with Texas Transportation Code and, right-of-way safety driving provisions, it's almost a necessity. And I guess the state would still consider it. Obviously, you don't even have to make a probation condition that he should comply with safe driving. It's kind of in and of itself. It's contained as part of his supervision. So I guess with the court's admonitions to the defendant, it's carried with his probation that he had better be a good driver out on the road, or there are very, very serious consequences with an orange jumpsuit at the end of it.
Mr. Fernandez, do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, anything else from either party?
No, from the state.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. 10 years deferred adjudication. There is to be restitution to Amber Skripka in two amounts, $10,185.88 and $238,538.15. With regards to the restitution, if something happens through insurance or with attorneys on the civil side, the court can always revisit that because no one's going to get paid double.
Apologize. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can.
No rush.
Yeah.
Okay, thank y'all so much. Dear Mr. Fernandez, my family and I have been through inexplicable pain due to your actions. I honestly don't even know where to begin. I imagine the best way to begin is from the very beginning. It was April 25th, 2018. I was due to be at work for my usual shift at the University of Texas at San Antonio Department of Public Safety for my usual shift at 8 a.m. I was almost to work when the incident occurred. It happened out of nowhere. I never even saw it coming. One moment I was in my car listening to my radio. I apologize. And in the next instance, I remember just closing my eyes and hearing a very loud sound. was squeezing my eyes so tight. It felt like I was spinning around in a Ferris wheel that was going super fast. I just remember hearing so much scream. As soon as my vehicle stopped spinning, I opened my eyes and I just remember everyone about you screaming. I remember knowing that I must have been involved in some sort of accident, but I had no idea how bad it was or what had actually happened. I heard everyone screaming at the intersection, and while I was still trying to figure out what had actually happened, I remember a male walking up to my window in the vehicle to ask if I was okay. As soon as he looked into my vehicle, he screamed out to the crowd that we need EMS. He looked down at my arm, and when he looked down at my arm when he was saying that, so I looked down, and that's the first time I noticed that something was wrong. I saw blood everywhere. I immediately went into a panic, and I started to have an immense fear for some reason that someone was going to try to hit me again from behind. So I tried to get out of the car. I remember the male that came to help me was telling me to stay still as possible and to not move. But I couldn't. I had to get out of the car. So I unbuckled. I opened the door and I got out of the vehicle. I remember as soon as I got out, I turned around and I saw the ambulance, thank God, was already pulling up to the scene. I remember holding my ring finger and my pinky finger in my hand and trying to squeeze it to see if I could feel it. And for a brief second, I was relieved to know that I still had feeling in my hand. At that point, I still hadn't had any pain. I was still in shock. The EMS responders immediately got me into the back of the ambulance and started taking my vitals and doing what they needed to do to keep me as safe as possible. I remember there was a super sweet lady that was standing with the ambulance doors were open, and she was standing looking at me, asking me if I needed anything for my vehicle. I said no at first, but she was like, do you want your phone? And I was like, oh my God, yes, I have to tell my mother what has happened. So she went to the car to try to get my phone for me. And I know as soon as the first responders got my phone and started calling my mom, I heard my mom's voice. And I don't know why, but right then it all started hitting me. The pain, it was immense pain right away.
Miss Scripka, just slow down a little bit.
Okay.
But I want you to know that the court understands your pain, and the court reviewed your victim impact letter. And I know that that letter has been shared by defense to Mr. Fernandez.
Okay. I didn't know they had read the whole thing already.
No, they read the whole thing. I make sure that the state, the defense, and I also make sure that the defense have their client read the entire victim impact and the entire PSI report with their client. So Mr. Fernandez has, I assure you, been given that by his attorney to read.
Yes.
Okay.
I appreciate you so much for coming in.
Yeah, I appreciate it. If I could I just wanted to add a couple things that weren't in my initial letter that y'all read.
Sure.
I just wanted y'all to see that I forgot to put it in my letter, but everyone at my work was so supportive of me. And it's because of them and my family that I'm actually here with y'all today, because I feel like mentally it was so taxing on me. And I remember when I first got back to work after being out for almost a month and a half, everybody at work had, I don't know if you can see it, but they made up these little Amber Strong bracelets for me. And everybody at work was wearing them, and they were trying to raise some money to help me pay for my bills. It was just so sweet. And also, I know y'all, I did send pictures, but this is updated after all the surgeries. My next surgery is going to be to try to fix this, like the unevenness of it, and to try to even out some of the stiffness in my wrist. But I mean, this is going to forever be my arm. So I just wanted y'all to see it as it is right now, 3 years later. And I do have a lot more victims in tax statement, but if y'all have already read it, I don't want to tie up the court's time anymore.
Well, Ms. Scripta, let me just tell you, you never tie up the court's time. And I just want to let you know that everyone here is very sympathetic and empathetic to what you've been through. And I appreciate your coming in to tell us your story and what happened, okay?
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, how are you doing this morning?
Great, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Fernandez, we have an issue.
Yes,
And the issue is that restitution is owed.
yes.
And your restitution is $248,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
So,
I have stock or shares in this company. They're helicopters that run off hydrogen. And the company is brand new. And I purchased 300,000 shares. So if it even goes public at $1, I'll have $300,000. But they're estimating it at between $15 and $20 when it goes public. And that's
Right.
the main thing I'm waiting on.
I understand you're waiting on certain things, but certain things may never happen. So,
Okay.
how much are you making? Because I see that you're part-time.
Yes, I make between 1,500. Well, some months 1,500.
All right, so here's the thing, you're gonna have to start paying more money than what you're paying towards restitution.
Okay.
I mean, you know, people always wait for money in, at least if you say you're waiting for income tax, we know there's a certain date when that may be in, but waiting for a company to go public and then selling your shares and see who's buying your shares, that may never happen. So what you're gonna have to do is you are going to have to get a full-time job. And
Yeah.
if that is 2 part-times to make it a full-time, great. If this part-time job is supporting your basic needs, then when you get that second part-time job, all of that money should go towards restitution.
Yes, Your Honor.
I understand the plight that people have with regards to money, but guess what? The person who's owed the money, who's a victim, they have a plight too.
Yes.
They now have over 200,000 in debt because of you. So you're gonna have to get another job and you're gonna have to start paying towards that. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So Rebecca, on Victor Fernandez,
Yes, ma'am.
he needs to get another part-time job and within 20 days, you're gonna report back to me on your job. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so with you, there's an issue with regards to restitution.
Yes,
So where are we on the restitution?
I'm working full-time with this company now. And my last check, I have a copy of it, is $1,050. And I can put like $400 to $500 a week
Mhm.
instead of what I was doing, $100 a month. I was only working part-time.
Okay,
And I'm still looking for a second job, a night job.
okay, so when you say you can pay $500 a month,
$400 to $500 a week.
a week,
So it's getting closer to the total that they wanted.
all right. Probation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, on Mr. Victor Fernandez, he's saying that he can start paying $400 a week towards restitution. So the money that he's turning in, if we can make sure that restitution is paid first, and he said he's able to pay $400 a week.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Fernandez, if something ends up happening, I don't know, you lose your job or they end up closing up shop, don't just disappear on us.
No,
You need to
contact my
let-
parole.
You need to let probation know
Oh, parole.
if there's an issue about you paying the $400 a week.
Okay,
All right, so she's gonna give you some documents to sign
all right,
saying that you're gonna be paying $400 a week.
yes,
All right, so if you'll just remain in the courtroom, she'll take care of that.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for. All right, so we have an issue. And it's with regards to the paying of restitution.
So you're supposed to be making a minimum $800 per month payment, and you have not been doing that.
I've been making like $200, $300. Yes.
Yeah, you're supposed to be, I mean, I know that's what you've been making,
Yes.
but you're supposed to be making $800 payments.
I'm having hardship, a financial hardship.
What is the financial hardship?
I went on social security. I'm 64. I'm gonna be 65 in July.
Mhm.
They reduced my social security by $1,000 for a case in California that I need to go to California to close. Because I contacted them in 2021. They said all I had to do is go to California and they'll close the case. They say that I owe $117,000. They attached that case to Texas SSI. They're gonna take in $1,000. I have paperwork for it.
All right, so here's the thing. This person is owed $248,000. They want their money. And I understand that people have hardships and everything that's going on, but they want their money. They're
It's like-
entitled to
there's
their
like
money.
4 different things that happened.
No, I understand, but you're gonna have to figure out a way.
Yes.
The minimum payments is supposed to be $800. And the complainant is saying that they've been receiving payments sporadically. It's not consistent. So
I paid 17,000.
17,000 of $248,000. And I am sure that this person's life will never be the same again because of the nature of these charges. So
I'm
she
still
wants to be
waiting for the
paid.
company to go
Mhm.
start the manufacturing. They moved back to Tucson, Arizona. They have new investors and the company's supposed to start manufacturing. And once they go public with the stocks, then I'll receive cash.
When is this going to be done?
We think in about 2 months, Judge, and the company's name is Avimech, Avimech. They build helicopters. He is a shareholder in the company, he and his
I'm on
partner.
the board of directors.
So what they've been trying to do is take the company public. They had an investor, that investor got audited, so that kind of slowed down the
Yeah,
process. So they
messed
now
up
have a
everything.
new investor and they should go public. They moved the company physically from San Antonio to Tucson. And we believe about 2 months, Judge.
To start manufacturing.
All right, this is coming back on June 26th, and you had better make some payments.
Yes.
Judge.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, this case is coming back on June 26th. Vashon, this case is coming back on June 26th to see where he is on making payments.
Maybe excuse, Your Honor.
Yes,
Thank you, Your Honor.
you're welcome. Hello, where is she?
I don't know, Your Honor. I visited with her in jail. I sent her a notice of setting. She apparently got out on bond. I don't know where she is. I called her in the hallway.
All right, just give me 1 second.
I made an announcement, Your Honor, and she did not know how.
All right.
Denny Callahan, not ready.
All right, this hearing was scheduled at 9 a.m. It is now 9:40 a.m. The court called the docket at 9 a.m. Ms. Venegas did not answer the docket. Deputy Laura, did you make an announcement for Ms. Villegas?
Yes, Your Honor, I did. She is not in the hallway.
All right, defense, have you had contact?
Not recently, Your Honor. But I letters, yes, but because the letters didn't come back.
All right, state.
State's requesting a bond for which is.
All right, that will be granted in each case. Your client will be remanded without bond. If your client makes an appearance, the court will reconsider.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, why were you late?
I couldn't find my
Ma'am,
house keys.
step out to the front.
Speak loud so she can hear you.
I couldn't find my house keys, ma'am. I just ended up leaving the house alone.
All right. All right. Probably need to find the keys. All right. Then we'll go back on the record. The court is recalling 2024 CR 008054 and 2024 CR 008052 State versus Samantha Venegas. Could I have parties announced for the record?
Jason Garrett for the state, Your Honor.
Denny Callahan.
All right, and you're Miss Venegas?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the court had entered a bond forfeiture and remained without bond at 9:40 because the defendant was not present. Any objection to the court recalling that order? State? And defense, I'm assuming you have no objection.
No, Your Honor.
All right, that will be recalled. Where are we on discovery?
We have everything, Your Honor. We're getting closer to an agreement. I suggest one more reset. Lead deadlines reset.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, can I have a 30 days reset for plea deadline date? All right, we'll be back on October 24th. Once you sign the reset form, you will be excused. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning. Marco Venegas, she has two cases. I only have one. I have the one for 5-2. I don't have the one for 5-4.
Give me 1 second.
All right, thank you. All right, why were you late for court?
There's no, there was no excuse really. I mean, the excuse that I have is, it was a stupid excuse because I wore
No,
the wrong
what's your
shoe-
stupid excuse?
I wore the wrong shoes and I was walking really slow because I didn't want to fall. And I shouldn't have worn these shoes. I
Okay, so here's the thing. This is what you have to understand.
apologize.
This is what you have to understand. How old are you?
I know, I'm 44, man.
All right, you're 44. On September 24th, there was a bond forfeiture issued for you because you were a no-show and you came strolling in at 9:40 a.m. And at that time, it was recalled. Your attorney came back and it was recalled and you're late again. Do not be late for this court again. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you're late again, then guess what's going to end up happening? We're going to call it. Your attorney, he's not looking at going into custody, it will be you. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, counsel, where are we on these cases with discovery?
No problem. We're finished with discovery, Your Honor.
Okay. State, were you able to tender an offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. Last time.
Okay.
My mistake, Your Honor.
All right. So we were here and I do see that the offer was tendered and we were coming back today for a plea deadline date.
I believe it's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So are you asking for a jury trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, I need a jury trial date. It's a drug case. It should be fairly short. How much time do you think?
2 days, maybe.
2 days, maybe. All right, your jury trial is November 12th. If you are not on time, a warrant will be issued. Do you understand? Unless there's good cause.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, once you sign the reset form, you are excused.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
May I address the court?
Yes.
Ms. Venegas would like to hire her own attorney.
All right. Then you'll need to be back here this afternoon.
Well, I didn't mean like hire one right now, ma'am. I feel even if I get another court-appointed attorney, I feel I don't feel like he just wants me off his case. So that's how I feel. And he hasn't done nothing for me.
Well, let me
to
just tell
help
you,
me.
let me stop you right there.
Yes, ma'am.
So in this cases, it's sort of like in sports. We shouldn't be dealing with feelings. We're just dealing with facts.
Yes, ma'am.
These are the facts. And I'm speaking to you from a person who's been a defense attorney and a person who's been a prosecutor. Sometimes we want our attorneys to be touchy-feely. We want them to sit down, walk us through everything, hold our hands. There are some attorneys who will do that. There are some attorneys who will be your secretary. They will get your calendar together for you, call you and say, remember, you have a court setting, please be here. Other attorneys, they don't do that. Now, what I can tell you, your attorney has no duty to call you and tell you there's a court setting unless they change your court setting. Otherwise, everybody knows when their setting is. With your cases in this court, I require that your attorney receive all discovery. He's received all discovery. Then I require that the state give an offer. State has tendered an offer. You can either accept it or reject it. Here's the thing, your attorney can't force the state to give you something that you want. If you want your case to dismiss, your attorney can present information to the state why the reason he thinks it can be dismissed. they still can say, yeah, we're not dismissing it. This is what we're offering. That's where we are. So we will have you back here at 1:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello. Okay, all right, you're gonna come back here tomorrow and we're gonna have a jury brought up. And whoever, if you decide to hire an attorney, you need to let them know they need to be prepared and ready to go to trial tomorrow. All right, Ms. Ferguson, if you'll give her a reset form for tomorrow, please. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Callahan.
Retro.
All right, it's the court's understanding that you wish to have a bench trial? And you understand what all of that means?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. State, on this bench trial, how long do you think it would take?
For 2 days. Well, it's a bench trial. We have 4 or 5 witnesses, Your Honor, and that's including the drug handler. Yes. Okay.
All right, so do you all want to confer with Ms. Ferguson when you all would like to do the bench trial?
Sure.
All right, so if y'all would confer on a date, so we won't do your case today since it's going to be a bench trial. Your attorney and the state will confer with the coordinator to see what's the date that works best for everybody involved, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, and then Norma, if you could see if we could perhaps do this. The Venegas. All right. All right, Deputy, could you make an announcement for Samantha Desiree Venegas? Thank you. And counsel, I do believe that the bondsman may have filed an affidavit to surrender surety. I'm unable to check because the system is down. We're going to go on the record. Court is calling 2024 CR 008052 and 2024 CR 008054, State versus Samantha Desiree Venegas. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Andrew Harris, Sadelman.
Defense?
Denny Callahan, not ready, not present.
All right, so this hearing was actually scheduled for an agreed bench trial today. Deputy? She hasn't made it back. The court is aware that I believe an affidavit to surrender surety was filed. Is that correct?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Okay. The court is unable to check due to the system odyssey being down. Deputy, did you make the announcement?
But he answered outside, Judge.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, State, what are you requesting?
Grant the affidavit of surety is surrender to the apprehension of the defendant.
All right. And again, the court believes an affidavit to surrender surety has been submitted, but our systems are down throughout the courthouse, so I'm unable to check.
And Your Honor, I apologize for interrupting. If there is an affidavit of surety to surrender, then grant it.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to issue a judge's warrant and remand her without bond.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
All right. You're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, after reviewing state's exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will find you guilty. And we will come back on sentencing on November 3rd at 9 a.m. And could you give them a reset form? All right, thank you. No PSI. All right, then everyone, we will be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. It will be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. You can lower your hand, state your name for the record. State your name for the record. All right, why didn't you show up for court?
Because I have problems.
We all have problems, but you're not telling me what your problems were.
Well, first of all, my daughter had her baby, but I came up with I was sick soon, so
My corona.
Everybody used coronavirus as an excuse, but did you provide any medical documentation that you had that?
Yeah, I do. I have that.
No. Did you provide any medical documentation to the court that you were ill?
I think I did. I should have. Do you have any?
I do not. Not for the date you're addressing, Judge.
Yes. So you did not, because if you would have, I would have that, and I don't have it.
So you don't have any paperwork at all?
I don't have anything to show that you were ill, and that's the reason why you didn't show up for your sentencing. I do have that I was lenient with you to allow you to get your affairs in order and to come back on a different date for sentencing. That's what I have. So why shouldn't I sentence you to beyond the 2 years? Because that's your agreement. Your agreement is if you don't show up for sentencing, you are subject to the full range of punishment. So my question to you is, why shouldn't I sentence you to 20 years?
Say that again, please.
Your agreement was that if you did not show up for your sentencing date, that your range of punishment will be up to 20 years in prison. You did not show up. So the question is, why shouldn't I send you to prison for 20 years?
I most definitely didn't understand that one.
No, you did, because it's a part of your plea bargaining agreement. And what I can tell you, and I'm sure your counsel will tell you this, and even though this is a new prosecutor to this court, I go over the plea bargaining agreement in great detail and ask on the record, do you understand that to be the plea bargaining agreement? And usually, well, not usually, every time I ask the defendant first, do you understand that to be the plea bargaining agreement? And they will say yes. Then I will either ask the state of the defense attorney, is that the plea bargaining agreement? And I can tell you that you were aware that you were subject to the entire range of punishment. So we're back to this. Why shouldn't I sentence you to 20 years? Because that was your bargain, that if you didn't show up for court, that you will be subject to the full range of punishment. And I remember all of the people who say, give me some extra time and I will show up.
What was going on with your daughter? Yeah, I mean, she have a baby next month or whatever, you know what I mean? But I don't think.
What do you mean she has her baby next month? You told me she already had the baby.
No. She went in the hospital. She was sick. I thought that she wasn't gonna even, that she was gonna lose the baby or whatever, you know what I mean?
And when did this happen?
Like last month.
All right, so that happened last month. So that would have been January. So that still doesn't explain why you didn't show up for your sentencing on November. You were set for sentencing on November 3rd. Here's the thing. Sometimes people don't have an excuse. Sometimes it's like, I made a bad decision. I was enjoying my free life out here and I just didn't show up. So I'm trying to figure out, is that your case or is there something else that was going on in your life? Because you're looking at 20 years in prison.
That he doesn't have an excuse that we want to offer at this time. He does. I mean, I agree with the court. You did admonish him. He understood that. I'm concerned. I mean, as we stand here today, he's not near as cognizant of I've dealt with as he's been in the past. I'm somewhat concerned about that, but I mean, he's not a man of means. When that November date came, his phone was cut off. We were not able to locate him. I mean, he didn't. I mean, I know I spoke to him after that when his daughter was sick. But we'd ask you not to sentence him to 20 years. We don't think that's, we hope that that's not what the court decides to do. But if the court decides, we ask the court to follow the plea bargain and perhaps give him 3 years, have been indicated that the court takes this seriously and
All right, state.
In lieu of the explanation of the judge, the state, with previous negotiations that they have in our file, we believe the appropriate sentence would be 5 years.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. The court will sentence you to 4 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served, take in consideration 2021 CR 2207, 2021 CR 1465, 2021 CR 2771. The court will give you credit for any time served. There's a $500 fine. Time and money will run concurrent. I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
That's your signature.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to your attorney. Do you understand? We can go off the record. Mr. Carroll, I always, when attorneys say, can you give my client some extra time to report? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I take it very seriously when I give someone time to report, because when you think about it, somebody's saying, all right, I'm going to show up and I'm going to take my prison sentence. You didn't show up. And that's a problem. And if there would have been a good explanation, things may have turned out differently.
I don't even remember anybody.
All right, so you can have him have a seat. They're supposed to impact. There's not? All right, thank you.
Judge, sorry, we're just gonna go ahead and surpass that because.
Judge, my client is in agreement with the state's recommendation. The only item outside of the agreement that my client is asking the court to take into consideration is the 10 days in the Bexar County Jail. I understand that sanction is statutory and we've discussed it, but my client is asking for the court to take into consideration. She has had the ignition interlock, I believe, since the inception of this case, which was, I believe, last May. So a little over a year that she's had the ignition interlock. She has been in compliance with that. The court is well aware that she had minor children in the car. The two children are her two boys. They're 11 and 6. CPS was involved at the beginning. It was a family-based case. It never went legal. They offered services. My client was in compliance, and the two boys are with her. So she is a single mother. She's working right now. She works with Aetna Medicare. But again, Your Honor, she's a single mom. She moved from San Antonio away from all of her family and ex-husband. So the imposition of that sanction would just put her in not only a financial burden, but she doesn't have any family members with regard to the two children. So she's asking the court for any alternative sanction, whether that be the GPS monitor or house arrest or whatever else the court deems appropriate.
Okay. Does she live in Bexar County or no?
She does, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. As far as the 10 days in the Bexar County Jail, the court usually, because of the circumstances involving the health crisis, the court usually gives defendants an option. You can either do 10 days in the Bexar County Jail as a condition, or either you can do GPS for 20 days and you'll be allowed to work. So that will be up to you, Ms. Diaz. Could you unmute yourself and let me know which one you would prefer?
Yes, Judge. Could I, because I do work remote, I do work from home, and it is summertime, I would be greatly appreciative and humbled if I could just do the GPS 20 days.
Okay. All right. This is what the court is going to do. Sentence you to 4 years in prison, suspended and probated for 4 years. $1,500 fine probated, 100 hours of community service restitution, or you can pay $7.25 per hour to the San Antonio Food Bank, DWI intervention course, ignition interlock for half the term, parenting classes. If she completed parenting classes through CPS, then she can provide documentation of that, and that will be acceptable. $65 restitution for blood testing, 180 days Texas driver's license suspension, 10 days in the Bexar County Jail. You can do 20 days GPS in lieu of the 10 days in the Bexar County Jail for medical purposes, well, based upon medical purposes, and you are allowed to work while on GPS. Ms. Diaz, have you had any type of treatment? And when I say treatment, I mean drug treatment for alcohol.
Yes, ma'am. I did successfully complete an outpatient treatment here in San Antonio last June, I'm sorry.
Okay, what type of treatment was that? What was the name?
I have the, if I can pull it out real quick, I have it in my file back here.
Sure.
Okay, can I just turn my camera off real quick? Okay, thank you so much for being patient. So I did outpatient treatment at the Alamo Center here off of 5018 San Pedro. I have my certification right here with Miss Nancy Chandler.
Okay. So I'm going to ask for proof of completion of outpatient treatment.
Okay. Then
outpatient treatment with probation. And let me ask you, is there any type of follow-up with them? Are you doing NA meetings, AA meetings? What are you doing?
I do, yes, ma'am. I have done some Zoom AA meetings as well. And then I do personally keep in touch with Miss Nancy Chandler as well. We talk on the phone once a month, just about. She's a really great person.
All right, I'm going to ask for AA meetings 2 times per week.
Okay.
There's to be regular Zoom reporting or in person. So what that means is if your Zoom doesn't work, then you have to report in person.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to ask for a field visit 1 time per month, random.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And we can do regular UA. Is there anything else that you need from the court in order to be successful, Ms. Diaz?
Your Honor, with all due respect, I know the severity of my actions, and I know the mistake that I made. Like I explained to my lawyer, Ms. Acevedo, it was right when COVID had hit and I just lost my job, and my ex-husband was threatening at that point to take custody of my boys. And it was just the first time that I've had downtime since divorce where I've been able to just sit back and be by myself, and it was not a good time for me, as a lot of people around the world. So I know what I went through personally, mentally, and climbed myself back out of there and got on the ball and fixed myself up and took care of business mentally, emotionally, and I'm still doing that and making sure that I stay on track, especially for my children, because they're my top priority.
Okay. All right. We lost your video.
Oh, sorry. I had an incoming call. I'm so sorry.
Good luck to you. And remember, this is what I tell everybody. People are not making mistakes with their life. They're making choices.
Yes.
Sometimes they're making bad choices. So you've got to start making good choices. Okay.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. And I agree with you 100%. And I appreciate your graciousness today, Your Honor.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, I'm sending you to breakout room number 2. Rochelle, you can go to breakout room number 2, or you can either be excused.
I don't know, either my vision is getting worse or something else is going on. April Diaz.
Here we go.
Thank you. Oh, is she currently without a bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
So does she have a warrant?
Yes, she does, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Diaz has a warrant.
I
Quarters.
Oh, Your Honor, I had spoken to Satellite this morning, so I am prepared to walk her to Satellite if you're inclined to set a bond this morning.
Okay. All right, court is calling 2021 CR 2312 State versus April Diaz. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
We're on the record. Here, Your Honor.
Defense?
Justin Fox, Your Honor.
And are you Ms. Diaz? All right, defense, you are here requesting a bond, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, defendant is currently on community supervision. Is there an agreement for a bond?
Yeah.
All right, and state, what is the agreement?
The agreement is to set the individual bond at $20,000. It was previously set at $15,000. Previous to putting into the case, but we're also requesting that ignition unlock be installed on a vehicle, or if she's driving at all, for that matter.
All right.
That is the agreement, Your Honor.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear affirm? the
Oh, she
test-
can't, Your Honor, because of the,
Oh, that's okay. Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, state your name for the record.
April Diaz.
I'm not talking about now. I'm going to talk to you and ask you questions about in the past because I don't want to interfere with whatever defenses you may have with regards to the motion to revoke. So in the past, have you had any type of drug or alcohol issues?
No drug issues. I have, I've drinking alcohol, obviously, and taken necessary classes, A as well. Just this past year, though, I did stop taking and going to AA.
The court is going to set your bond at $20,000. There should be ignition interlock on all accessible vehicles. There should be no driving. And there should be 120 sober meetings, 120 days. Is there anything with regards to the bond amount? Any other issues, state defense?
no, Your Honor. I've spoken to Satellite this morning. They are prepared to take her if I could be able to walk her down to Satellite.
Oh, the deputies will have to do that.
Oh, okay.
All right, so with regards to the motion to revoke, Ms. Ferguson, I need a contested hearing date in 20 days.
Oh, Your Honor, there, as far as discovery, it's a Bell County case for new DWI, and they're very slow in that county as far as felonies and discovery.
I'm sure somebody can get a police report from Bell County. We'll see where we are.
Okay, yeah.
All right, February 25th,
We have the police report, is this other issue, but yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
for contested hearing. If you'll make sure she has a copy of the reset form, and then if you'll speak to the deputies, they'll make sure that she is taken downstairs.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate you.
It is 2021, 2312 in DC. Okay, you're welcome.
They won't take her to one.
Oh, okay. I'll go take that one.
I posted your hair thing. I'm loving it.
Oh, thank you, Judge. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really need it, but like, I just thought I was seeing a little bit of thinning, so I just wanted to fill it in before,
No, it looks great.
Thank you.
Oh, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm excited.
we're due in July.
Oh, do you know?
That's a boy.
Oh, okay.
So
'Cause
whatever.
I was gonna say you could name it after your travel buddy.
Yeah, well, we might do Alexander Gael Faugs, we'll see. I
Okay.
tried to do like a really really like English name like Alistair, but my wife said no. No,
Okay,
Alistair.
I'm with her with Alistair. People would say, where is this coming from?
Exactly. So Alexander it might be. So we have Alessandra, she's about to be 5, and then Alexander. So
Oh, that'll be awesome. All right, so on this case,
this is our first true setting, Judge.
Mhm.
We came in, I think, last week or the week before to just get the bond set.
mhm.
We've been in discussion with the state today in regards to Ms. Diaz's case. At this time, it looks like it's gonna be a contested hearing. The only thing is that Ms. Diaz spoke with her husband yesterday. He's in the military and his home base is up in Seattle. But he gets deployed on special missions and things like that. So she spoke to him yesterday. He won't be available until May 8th. He can be available May 9th for Zoom, or in person, Your Honor. My
What is he, a
client-
witness?
I'd like to have him as a witness, yes. Ms. Diaz currently lives up by
In Fort Cavazos, Colleen.
in Killeen, Your Honor, with her son. So she made the choice to remain so her son could not get uprooted during high school. So she lives here, doesn't have support here. So her only real family support is her husband, who's out on a special mission. But he will be back in May, and to make the court feel comfortable and safe about possibly granting our request to hold that MTR contested hearing until May 8th or May 9th. My client's currently out on bond. She hasn't had any issues. She currently has an interlock in her car, but she's willing to add a scram to her body, Judge, just so that puts you at ease, and also add zero tolerance to her bond conditions if she tests positive.
No, we're gonna have the contested hearing sooner than that. So the contested hearing is going to be in March. I'll allow you all to pick your March date for a contested hearing. What date?
Can I get back to you, Judge? I'll try to see if we can maybe find some way to contact her husband to see if he can be available. She told her yesterday that he couldn't be, but maybe we can find some way. If I could just maybe have a few days to come back to you with a date.
All right, I tell you what date I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna put it on probation. What dates? Tuesdays or Thursdays? All right, so we'll put this for March 25th. So States, you're withdrawing this?
Yes, Judge.
All right, and what is happening with the underlying case?
It's in Bell County, and so my understanding is pre-indictment over there, and they're planning to file their case. I just don't have time for that.
That's correct, Your Honor. She's on strict pre-indictment, pre-trial conditions.
All right. All right, Ms. Abrams. Of course, I'm not taking the number one is true because y'all have withdrawn it, but what are we gonna do as far as conditions here?
She is on interlock. Sorry, no, she's on interlock for Bell County.
It's
Okay, she's saying for Bear, but it is a Bell County condition of your pre-trial. So she is on monitor, Your Honor. But I did let the state know that, you know, my client's not opposed just to scram for showing the court that she is serious about her change in behavior. So if the court is so inclined to order her for scram for maybe we offered the state 4 months before the MTR was withdrawn, just to show the court and the state that we were serious about this behavior change.
And part of her conditions that I see here, unless they've changed, was that there was to be no driving. So allegedly, somebody's driving when they're not supposed to be driving.
Yes, ma'am. I did speak with the people in Satellite and they let me know about those conditions and as to why it said the other, but I had my son-in-law go and take me to get the ignition interlock into the car. I haven't been driving. I work remote.
Oh, well, this is the thing. I'm just telling everybody. My conditions, unless they've changed, was no driving. No, that was in place beginning February 6th, I think. February 6th. It was agreed $20,000 bond. Oh, you know what is a condition as bond?
Oh, that's what the confusion is, Your Honor. So it's not part of her. Yes, that's correct. So, and my client hasn't been driving. She works from home, but she's been blowing. That's correct.
All right. So alternate main conditions to include probation. You said scram?
yes.
All right. I'm going to order then scram, and there's to be no driving.
No driving to continue, Your Honor.
Yes.
For how long?
Until further notice. If she wants to drive, then you all will need to come back here and file a motion and ask the court to consider her to drive. If you all want scram removed, you have to come back here, file a motion, and we can hear whether or not scram should be removed.
In 4 months, would you feel that's enough time to come back to Your Honor, potentially?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Is there anything else?
No.
All right. And I've signed the motion, and you need to make sure you're on time for court. All right. Thank you.
Judge.
Thank you for dressing appropriately.